Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Today's Shabbat lesson is Ra in Hebrew, which means see. That is the portion for this week. We're going to focus more on the power of seeing and choosing. Now, we're going to start with the scripture and Devarim, which is Deuteronomy 30th chapter. Let's read. It says, see, they start with the word Ra, see, I am presenting you today with on the one hand, life and good. And on the other hand, death and evil. Right? And then he started explaining to us, now this is the life and good. Let me tell you this. So he said, in that, I am ordering you today to love Adonai your God, to follow his ways, and to obey his mitzvot, that's his commandments, regulation, and ruling. For if you do, you will live and increase your numbers, and Adonai your God will bless you in the land you are entering in order to take possession of it. This is powerful. Now, in the other hand, death and evil. This is the description of death and evil, basically. But if your heart turn away, if you refuse to listen, bottom line, I am announcing you today that you will certainly perish. Why? My people perish because of what? Not lack, because you reject his knowledge. Because we're not lack of it. We have plenty of it. We're not lack of anything. We reject it sometimes because we don't want to understand it, or we feel like that's not what I want to do. We reject his knowledge because it doesn't look like our plan for life. Even though his knowledge is his original plan when he blew you on this earth. But we have choices to choose that. Right? So let's start with this word, see, Ra, right? What does that mean? It means to behold, to perceive, to discern, right? It's not looking with a physical eye, but it's to perceive with understanding, right? So God is not saying see what your natural vision look, but he's saying perceive, comprehend, spiritual discern. That's how you make your choice. Ray is about opening the eyes of the heart and mind, not just looking on the outside and say, look. Like, let's look at this. In the book of John, 1 John 4th chapter, he says, don't trust every spirit. On the contrary, test the spirit to see, Ray, to see, to perceive, to understand, to spiritually discern whether they are God, because many false prophets have gone out, right? Now, now when God give us choices, he give us clarity, right? We just don't finish the sentence. We don't finish the paragraph. We just take off and run. Now, he said, the next verse, he said, here is how you recognize the Spirit of God. Now, I'm telling you to discern it, but I'm also giving you a clue how to discern that. This is how you recognize. Every spirit which acknowledge that Yeshua, the Messiah, came as a human being in form of God. Now, when he said every spirit which acknowledge, what does that mean? Not just to say that, oh yeah, believe that Jesus God come and the Messiah came as a human being. No, he's not saying that. He said which acknowledge would mean to know, meaning who have developed the fruit of the Spirit. What the Bible tells us, that we know the truth by the fruit it bears. So he said who acknowledge, not just acknowledge by lips, but just, oh yeah, they acknowledge that. No, that's not what he's saying. Acknowledge is to know. It means to birth. It means to develop. You will know the tree by the fruit it bear. To acknowledge is not by mouth, but it's actually by results, by action. That is the clue for you to acknowledge, for you to see and test the Spirit. You don't test the Spirit by the Spirit. That's not proper. That's not what the word said. Okay. He said to see, to perceive, to discern. And this is how you discern, by acknowledge, not by lips, right? By developing the fruit of the Spirit, right? So the next word that we're going to describe is the principle of choice. Choice is bahira, right? In Hebrew, what God's saying, I have set before you choices, right? See, I am presenting you today. I'm giving you a choice, right? Blessing and cursing, that's not random. They are result of our everyday choices. Every day we come to a crossroad that we have to make a decision, whether in relationship, in words that we choose, in our attitude we choose to express, in our integrity or lack of, whether we choose to forgive, excuse me, whether we choose to forgive or not. They open up the door to your blessing or your cursing. Every single thing in life, you have to choose. Every moment, whether you know it or not, whether you recognize it or not, whether you are aware or not, we are built with choices. This is the way humanity is made. God has already finished his part. He set the table before us every day. We have to choose which meal we're going to eat. Like people have planned for their life. You could sit on the table, you and your family, your children, your spouse, and you could choose a life that you want to live. Or you could choose according to the blueprint that God created you with. He gave you that choice. You could just do that. And then you would hear people a lot of time that they would do things in life, but deep inside, it's not really what they wanted to do. It's really based on what somebody else or your family had put in your mind, or your friends telling you on social media, this is what you should do. But it's not really the actual real blueprint that's deep within you. And to get an understanding what the blueprint looked like. So a lot of time we make choices based on what we see in the natural, not based on what we see based on the perception of our understanding, based on what we see according to the spirit. Remember, the word said, what things that is seen is temporal. It's not real, it's temporal. But the things that you don't see is more real. Meaning that the thing that you perceive, the thing that you see with your eyes of your understanding is more real. So we make decision based on what is before us. And when we take that emotion into prayer, we say, well, God told me to do this. No, that is what you saw that actually recorded in your unconsciousness. So when you pray, you'll hear this voice that say, oh, no, I think you should. Yeah, you should do this. Well, I felt it in my spirit and I felt a peace about it. Well, really, there's an ingredient in that it is outside of what you cannot see. You make choices based on what you see, based on what you recognize in the natural. But it is a different choice when you choose, and it's going to sound crazy, choose on what you see. So I'm making choices based on what I see instead of making choices based on what I see. Let me repeat that again. I'm making choices based on what I see in the natural that are facts in my life. Instead of making choices based on what I see with my spiritual eyes, the eyes of my understanding, my perception, when I go in the blueprint of what's really happening, what I cannot see in the natural, but I see it in the spirit. Let me give an example. Like the sun rises every day. Sometimes we cannot see it when the weather is changing, like when there's clouds or if it's raining and storming. You cannot see in the natural the sun have risen. But it is up. It's doing its job, and it's still carrying the same commandment when it was created umpteen centuries ago. It never stopped, which is different than humanity, because we do stop. God always changing his mind. Well, no, he want me to do that. No, he want me to do, no, he want me to do this. We always do that. But the sun, it rises whether you could see it or not. So I can't see the sun rise, but I can see the sun rise. So which eyes that I am looking through, not see in a natural, but in the spirit. The sun, the moon, everything is doing its job. So I can't see it in the natural when it's cloud, but it's there. If the cloud move, you'll see the sun. The sun didn't just come up because the cloud moved. It was always there. So we have to be careful about the choices that we make based on what we see, based on your limited understanding. Lean not to your own understanding, right? In all your ways, what it say? Acknowledge him. We see that word again? Acknowledge. It's not, oh, I'm acknowledging you, Lord, on this thing until you got me. No, you got to go deeper than that. You have to go into his blueprint. You got to go into God's reality, not your reality. You have to go into his way, his thought, his way. It's still there's an access for us to go in his way. Even though he said, your thought are not my thought. Your ways are not my ways. But I gave you access to my ways. I gave you access to my thought. Now it's up to you whether you are going to pay the price. And what is the price? Shedding your flesh, shedding yourself, shedding of your own understanding, shedding up everything that you picked up in the natural, according to your lifestyle, according to what you see and understanding, shedding off anyway. Paul even said that I put away everything that I think I know, for you to go through that door of understanding, through that door. When you make the choice of his way, you have to let go what you think you know. You have to let go what you see, what you believe. Now today, social media, it built like, built what you know and built who you are. Finding out who you are is who he created. Finding out the truth is to go inside of his blueprint. You have a choice whether you're going to live according to what you see or according to what you see. I know that sounds crazy, but then he says his ways, not my way, sound crazy. But what you see in the natural, we make decision 99% of the time according to facts, according to what you see. I take the facts with me and I go inside of another road, another choice, another seeing, another view. For me to, okay, I know this said this. I know it looks like that. I know the doctor said this. I know my bank account said that. I know that, this person wants to walk away. My husband, my child died, or a spouse walking away, a job got fired. All of that. These are real facts. But I have to take it inside of what I see, perceive, understand, according to God's reality. How do I react, or what choices do I make based on this fact? My choice may not even look like the facts, because the choice is going to be in his reality. Right? Because he said to choose you this day. Well, I'm going to continue. So it is very, very important that we understand how our humanity operate. A lot of things that we make choices on is we go into the library of our unconsciousness, and the memories start going in the factory of your unconsciousness, and they start building up a formula and receive it through your consciousness, through your subconsciousness, for you to make a decision. And then we call it God. We said, the Lord is leading me. The Spirit of the Lord told me. I heard the Lord said. So you have to do the work of understanding what you see based on what you see. Because most of the time, the things that God have given us, when you go into the seeing realm in the natural, it doesn't make sense. It just does not make sense. It doesn't seem real. It seems like, people are going to talk about you. It seems like, you living a dream. This is not real because I want to do this. But because it doesn't fit. What you see in the spirit doesn't fit in the natural, but it's not supposed to fit. We're still supposed to choose his way, his lifestyle for us, even though it feels uncomfortable in the humanity realm. But if you do it long enough, it will become comfortable. Now, there's an inner voice in two inner voice in Hebrew in us that called the Yetzeh Hatov, which means the good inclination, the good life, and the Yetzeh Hara, which is the selfish or evil inclination. Those two worlds live inside of us, those two voices. And those choices shape your world. Now, let me continue. Now we're going to go to the next word, blessing. See, I am presenting you today with what? On one hand, life and good. We call it blessings. And we're going to talk about that. The word blessing, life and good, represent the blessing, meaning to kneel. Is the word barak, right? It comes from the word barak, mean to kneel, to empower, to strengthen, to show favor, right? Blessing is like an empowerment to prosper. That's what blessing is. I bless you today. I empower you to prosper, to thrive, to experience peace. That's what shalom is. Blessing is shalom in Hebrew, right? When it says shalom to you, I'm speaking peace to you, fruitfulness, aligning with God's design. That's what it means, all right? So blessing is not like something good that's happening, but it's more of a spiritual force that enable you to do good, to flow in his blessing, right? Right? The empowerments of God's favor, it allow your life to flourish, to multiply, to align with his divine purpose, right? For example, in the book of Genesis, right? Bereshit, Genesis, God blessed humanity. And then he said he blessed them. He empowered us with fruitfulness, dominion, and abundance. He empowered us. Now we have to do what? Work the empowerment, right? Now let's look at the next word, cursing. Now, that one is, I won't say tricky. Let me show you this. In the original verse, when they said, I am presenting you today with on one hand life, but on the other hand, curse, which means death and evil. Because the word evil, that's because it's what it says. Evil is ra, meaning a disposition that is contrary to God's nature. So, put that aside. That is contrary to, if I choose that, I'm choosing a nature that is an enemy to God. That is contrary to his nature that he created. And the other word in Hebrew for curse mean kalal. It mean to make small, to diminish, to make it light, to lose value. Here's the main meaning: to stop the flow. That's what curses. A lot of people think, who curses is, woo, I curse you. It means to stop the flow. Now, don't talk about I feel curse. It means to stop the flow. The curse interrupt the blessing. It interrupt the empowerment for you to have. It's a cutting of a flow. It's cutting the fruitfulness. It's cutting your empowerment. Like you could say, curses is the absence of divine flow, right? It makes life barren. You disconnected. You unfruitful, right? So curses is a flow of disruption, right? Just what happened with Adam and Eve. When they disobeyed, the result was curse. The flow stops. So you get turmoil, pain, brokenness, because of the choice. Now, in the book of Devarim, which is Deuteronomy 11, make it very simple, 26 verse. See, I am setting before you today blessing and cursing. The blessing, if you listen to my mitzvah, my commandment of Adonai, your God, that I'm giving you today. And the curse, if you don't listen to the commandment, Adonai. Very simple. If you don't listen, your flow stop. If you listen, you will be fruitful and you will have a flow. I want you to imagine your faucet. So when I turn it off, that's considered curse. It stopped the flow. When I turn it on, it's a blessing. Now, I could turn it on and no water come out. I'm like, where's the water? What happened? It got cut off. Oh my God, why did it not cut off? Because you didn't listen to the bill to pay it. So now you're living in interruption of flow, that's what curse is. So it's very simple. You listen, you get blessed. You get a flow. Like a lot of people, the misconception about everything that happened, God did it. And it's God, why couldn't God stop? That's not the way he created humanity. We have to read the instruction of the book, how we were created. He didn't create us, he come over here and because of this bad. No, things are happening because of somebody's choices. Somebody made the choice, and this is the effect. And sometimes other people suffer from one person or few people choices, other people choices. So he give us choice to live by, and you do have to suffer the consequences of your choice. If he choose to show mercy, that's up to him. But the way the book is written, the instruction of humanity, you have choices of the type of life you choose to live. You have been empowered to choose, to have the free will to choose. Like he don't want you to force him to force other people to serve him. He wants you to choose to serve him, right? I want you to imagine choices. Like it's one marked blessing, the other one marked cursing, right? So God built both doors, right? And you choose, and you have the key in your hand. Which one you want to open? Because it's an invitation. When you listen, you invite blessing. When you send out the other invitation by not listening and doing it your way, then you invite curses, which is you invite a different flow or interruption of flow. And sometimes you could see things are flowing, and in your mind you think, well, yeah, I'm being blessed. But if you really test the water and you see that the bacteria that you're unable to see with your natural, that's in your eye, in your water, because you made a choice to do it your way. According you see in the natural, because you're doing things according to what makes sense, especially if you live by your senses. And a lot of especially intelligent people fall into this trap, because that's why I have this teaching called the danger of knowledge. You should get that. Because the knowledge of what you know have become dangerous for you, because it blocks you for you to live by what you see in the natural, what makes sense. But if you do like Paul and put your knowledge to the side and be able to make decisions based on what you see, different than see, right? Because what you see according to your perception, according to God's blueprint, which is very different. So a lot of people that is knowledgeable, that is smart. That's why he said, I prefer to stay stupid all day. And no matter what I know, I prefer to stay stupid, because he used that to confine the wise. But how? Well, yeah, that happens to me all the time. Well, how do you get there? How do you? Yep, I prefer to be in that place I don't know. I prefer to be in that place I just follow what he says. I don't want to be so smart that I smart myself out of God's blueprint for my life. And that can happen. You know, that don't happen because I pray every day and I fast. Oh, no, baby, no. Get that teaching, the danger of knowledge. You should listen to, especially if you're a smart person, you should listen to that every day, because that's your weak link. Your knowledge has become your weak link, because now the knowledge has become the fruit of your life. It has become the blueprint on how you move based on what you see in the natural, not understanding what you see according to God's realm, according to his reality, according to his view, not according to what you see in a natural. So remember this. Now you could write this down. See with spiritual perception, not just physical eyes. Blessing is empowerment to prosper when you choose life and good. That's the flow. Cursing is disempowerment. That's the cutting of the flow. Choice. Every single day, in small, big way, you decide the outcome. It by your words, by your attitude, by your thought pattern, by your decision, by your relationship, by friendship, profession, everything, every single moment of your life, you choose. Every moment you choose. Right? So, good question to ask yourself. What choices am I making daily that align with my flow, with my blessing, that align with good in life? Good is not something that you see in the natural again. Well, I feel like this is good because that's what you see. But doesn't mean that's what God sees. Right? When I'm choosing thoughts, words, action, do I invite frustration? Do I invite curses? What do I invite? So, what can I see different lately is what you should write down. What can you see different lately? Okay, let me pray. Thank you for joining me, but I'm going to pray for you today. Father, I thank you for this moment that you have given us, this Shabbat gate, that you allow us to sit at your gate, sit at your feet, to be able to hear your word. But Father, I declare and decree that our eyes of our understanding will truly be open to see clearly, to see according to your reality, according to your realm, according to your truth, so we could see the door of blessing, that we won't continue to miss our door of blessing because we're looking in the natural. And I declare and decree that the eyes of our understanding to be enlightened today, that we'll be able to see as you see, that we'll be operating according to your thought, according to your way. Father, I thank you for giving us the ability to see the choice that would unlock the treasures that is within us, in our words, in our thought, in our relationship, in our connections. So our family and we could live a life of blessing, that the shalom will be released over us. And I declare that over each and every one of us today, from this day forward, that we will be more conscious about what we see. We will be conscious on operating according to the eyes of our understanding, that we will continue to exercise that eyes, that it will get stronger and clearer. Because the goal is for us to tap into the treasure that is within us, for us to live according to your blueprint, not according to what we desire, not according to what we want, not according to what others want for us, not even according to what family have aligned us to, that we living according to what family says we should be. Because when you created us to be unique, different, even from family members. And we want to live according to that blueprint. And Father, and I declare and decree that we are aligning ourselves according to your will, according to your blueprint. That the eyes of our understanding, we are led by that eyes. We are led every day in every choice, everything that we make. That we declare that we are walking according to the choice of what God has for us. I speak that into manifestation, that your divine hand will continue to rest over each and every one of us. In Yeshua's name, amen. Thank you so much for joining me on this Shabbat teaching. I want you to go to PFYI.org. That is our website that you could get the product that I told you about, the danger of knowledge. And you'll see other product of the blessings, the Shabbat blessings, and also sweep your house, sweep your soul. I recommend that. You just got to sweep your house and sweep your atmosphere. And sweep your soul is absolutely awesome. If you have anybody that's in the hospital that's sick, we have healing, the Shabbat healing blessing, because I heard a great testimony yesterday. One of my mentees, that she played it for her mother that was in the hospital. And oh my gosh, there was an awesome testimony that when she said, the prayer that says that let your word erupt in us. And it said it happened, and her mother felt the eruption of the word. And she said even the nurses, everybody started moving different. It was an awesome, a needed testimony that I need yesterday. So those blessings capture the moment, the anointing that is real in real time when you play it. So I recommend that to go PFYI.org. And we also have classes, intercessory training classes that's coming up. We want you to sign up for that. So, and you're welcome to sow any seed as God leads you, because he have led many people to sow seed to the school. Remember, we're not a church. Well, we're not even a ministry. We are a school that God created for the kingdom to train and teach intercessors to go back out to their ministry, to their churches, to go back out to the world, to stand in their gate of intercession. So if you need anybody, if you have your church, you want your intercessors to be trained or to be even upgraded in their teaching of intercession, our school does that as well. So let us know. PFYI.org. And please, and also let me know, send me a testimony. Have this been a blessing to you? Let me know. You can even put it on a comment or send us an inbox. Let me know if this is a blessing to you. And don't forget to share with your friends and family, because somebody needs this word. Somebody need their eyes of the understanding to be open. Okay, so make this viral. Take it everywhere, because everybody's going to need that. All right, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for joining me. Have a great Shabbat.